What is going on, my cinephiles? We're going to be talking about a new little horror film on VOD called The Jester. Now, this is a film about two estranged sisters who came together because of their father's passing, and now they are trying their very best to reconnect. Thrown into the mix here, we have a jester who is terrorizing the inhabitants of a small town on Halloween night. So I really didn't know anything about this movie. I just went in as blind as I possibly could have. And when it comes to me, I'm not the biggest fan of clowns. I am terrified of them, and I will sock anybody that comes to my face dressed up as a clown. Mark my words, I am not the biggest fan of clowns, and when it comes down to clown movies, I'm not the biggest fan of them because sometimes they do a really good job of creeping me the fuck out, and other times it does the creepiness very well, but the movie isn't very good. So when it comes down to the Jester, you have this supernatural entity that is able to kill anybody without even touching them. He's just like Art the Clown, except he wears a mask and he walks around. This film is based on shorts from the same director of the same creepy little fucker. In concept, it works. It absolutely does. This Jester is absolutely terrifying. The way he kills people is really creative. It works for what it was trying to do. And when it comes down to low budget films like these, you know exactly where you're going to be getting yourself into. And I have a feeling that while this movie isn't getting a lot of attention, mostly because nobody even knows what the hell this movie is, I'm pretty sure this is going to have a cult following, kind of like Terrifier did. Now, Art the Clown was around a bit longer than this creepy little thing, but it has the same elements of Art the Clown. You have a killer that doesn't talk but does a really good job of miming things, and that is how he gets away with killing people. He's able to do some magic tricks with his hands. He's able to appear out of nowhere and reappear somewhere else. So in concept, I really like what this character is and what this character does. And the creators of this film are not expecting Oscar award winning performances or an Oscar award winning film. So going into this film, you have to have that mindset that this movie is going to be either a fun film for you or a terrible movie. And I like the concept of the Jester. However, I was not able to get into the sisters. I could get two shits about what was going on. You're not going into this movie expecting a great story. I thought the story that they gave us was pretty decent. You're just going into this movie to see what this Jester is able to do, and in that, I think it works. Everything else is just pure awful, and it just did not work for me. I was bored halfway through. The only times that I was entertained was when this creepy little thing was on screen, and that was the only time that I was entertained. Everything else was just awful. The friends were awful, the dialogue was awful, and the acting is awful. They can act better than I can, and the writers can probably write a lot better than I can. It's just a low budget VOD film that you know exactly where you're going to be getting into. It's okay. The concept of this killer is fine. Everything else didn't work for me. But overall, I'm just going to go ahead and give the Jester a 1 out of 10. Creepy things that the Jester does, but everything else is just, meh. It's just forgettable. It's just completely forgettable. Wouldn't recommend you waste $6 to rent it, but if you're just even remotely interested in this movie, I think it's worth a shot, but just know what you're going to be getting into. Also, if more people are able to find this movie, it might be the next Art the Clown. Who knows? But those are my thoughts on The Jester. I know nobody has ever heard of this movie except for me, surprisingly. But let me know if you're even remotely interested in checking this film out, or if this review encouraged you to not check it out. Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know what is your favorite creepy killer.